monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Thank you, John Larson. I receive your kind words on behalf of all of our courageous members of the House of Representatives who want the best for the American people. And what we can do that is best for them in the next 24 hours is to pass affordable, accessible health care for all Americans. The best for all Americans is to have 32 million more people to have health insurance in our country. The best for...
Piece of stinking filth.
Shh, you're sitting in Shali. This is AJ of the InfoWars. Listen to the Shaliak. This is Alex Jones of InfoWars. Listen to Shaliak on the Cold Reality News and Report.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Well, hello there.
This week on Cold Reality Radio. It's still Obama's party. Car plows into parade crowd in New Orleans. Drunken mayhem. Trump cancels back channel talks with North Korea. The Oscars will be on this evening, and who the fuck cares? But we'll be talking about it a bit. India approves $2.5 billion missile deal with Israel. Not quite as lofty as the $34 billion one that Obama signed when he was destroying the United States corporation. Or are they destroying it? John McCain cuts off reporters who asked about the $1 million donation from Saudi Arabian governments to his bogus money laundering nonprofit McCain Institute. Dick Cheney poisoned hundreds of United States military troops in Iraq. Now they're dying, and the media is silent. Trump unveils the first step in building the border wall. The White House blocked CNN, BBC, New York Times, the LA Times from media briefing. Hate crime hoax alert. Capital University student admits to fabricating several incidents. The U.S. carried out regime change in Syria in 1949 and tried again in 57, 86, 91, and 2011, 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. The road to hell was paved with Obama cronyism. Gets ugly in Brazil, considering their economy is or was destroyed. GE, Intel, AT&T team up to put cameras and mics in San Diego, the smart city it now is. In sweeping move, Trump puts regulation monitors in United States agencies. Trump's policies are authoritarian and not populist. Syrian rebels worried CIA might stop sending them arms. Not a chance. Mardi Gras and Bourbon Street have been turned into America's largest spying network Florida man pleads guilty in attempted hacking of the Clinton Foundation. Don't worry, whatever gets exposed will get covered up, and or not even no attention will be paid to it because it's fake news. Fake news, fake news. Welcome to Cold Reality Radio today, here on the UCY.TV broadcasting network of free speech and music and anything else that you like. So much incredible programming here on UCY that you can always find something that will interest you. Many things. So as usual, I open up the show with some Sunday morning music there, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, mostly just jazzy riffs and just crazy sounds and synthesizers and things like that. But welcome to the program today. We've got, again, just more insanity as we move down the road, as we kick the despotic can, the tyrannical can down the road. We have so many things going on in the background that no one ever really, in the mainstream media ever talked about. So many things. We talk about the migrant, the refugee crisis, but we don't talk about who created it. You never hear about what policies created this. Now, whether, Assad's in on it, I just happen to think that if anybody wanted to take out Assad, I would imagine he's, not really, standing in public. He's not going to the 7-Eleven, in the wide view. You can't help but think that we have just everything is so absolutely disturbing. Where, Russia supposedly, you hear these things, Russia has information about this, Russia has information about that. And then they think, you'll hear people say, oh, ISIS, Obama created ISIS, Trump will say Obama created the creator of ISIS. What he means is that because of his lackadaisical approach to Iraq and his comments about, the JV of jihad, that's what he's talking about, that Obama just, and then now we have ISIS. Is he really telling you who's behind all of this just absolute, just insanity? No, he's not. He's saying, again, Obama, because of his lackadaisical this, because of his, not addressing radical Islam, that this is what we have. And because they're not addressing, the radicals over in Sweden, because they're not addressing the radicals in Germany and France, that this is what is the result. He's not telling you that this is a creation of the international banking system, that these groups are international banking system created. He's not going after the people that own the media, the people at the top of CBS, NBC, ABC. He's not going to the very core, because then you would find an answer to why America and the rest of the world is in absolute fucking turmoil. You would find out who is at the top of these news organizations that are supposedly crushing and destroying everything that his administration has tried to do. And of course, one part of it being the media, the other part being the so-called obstructionists in the Democratic Party, the demon Chuck Schumer. And believe me, the only reason why Amy Schumer has a fucking job as a actress and comedian is because she's related to Chuck Schumer. Just figured I'd throw that in there. Okay. She has no talent. She's absolutely and totally disgusting in the sense that her comedy and her movies, and she's not solely the cause of all the degeneracy, but she is benefiting and monetarily, fiscally from degeneracy. And then, of course, you've got these young women walking around wanting to be like Amy Schumer, wanting to blah, 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 wanting to blah, 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 thinking like her, speaking like her, because it's cool to be a slut and a tramp and all these other things. And so we drift further and further into what created the march the day after the inauguration. Now, I'm under absolutely no mind control here when it comes to Donald Trump. I know exactly what he's doing in there. And I know it's sad for people that thought that maybe this was a turning point for America, that this was a turning point where things were going to change for the better, and that he was going to go after all the people. He was going to find out what really happened on that day in 2001, in fall of 2001. He was really going to find out, what the deal was. But it turns out that the whole birth certificate thing that he was doing and all of the reality television, you're fired this, you're fired that, really was just a prelude to him running for president, because he really knew back then that this was really a thing that he was going to do. And then he just goes through and he just runs the table. He just runs the table. And now he's the president of the United States Corporation, the CEO, the salesman, the front man for the criminal conspiracy, maybe not even a criminal conspiracy, just the conspiracy by bloodline families to create to grab land, but make it look like it's all organic and grassroots. George Washington related to first cousins with King fucking jackass, whoever the fucking piece of shit so-called king was over there across the pond at the time. And then, of course, they're all related to one another, right? It's all a big Game of Thrones. So America is a a throne, a land domination. It never was what they've told you that it is. It never was we the people, because you are not the people. I am not the people. You really think that 200 some fucking years ago they created a document that said we the people create a more perfect union? Blah, blah, blah. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It was all for them. It's all for them, and their relatives and bloodline posterity are running America today in the city-state of Washington, D.C. Okay, another thing that, really Bill Cooper and a lot of these other guys never really even said. That George Washington, they never talked about, all these things. It's always with Alex Jones, George Washington, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. He's probably fucking related to him, like Obama. And so many others. Obama, 42 cousins in D.C. at one point over the last 8 years. 42. John McCain being one of them. Because, of course, Obama being related to George Washington and McCain, not very many people see this. You're not going to see it on YouTube, but PBS program, the very last page is George Washington, and then he pretends to be surprised that he's related to George Washington. Now you fucking know, John. Okay, you know John McCain, all right? And this is just the way for them to slowly put out that this is a bloodline creation. This is a bloodline domination of land that was grabbed 200 plus years ago. The pirate cove that America has always been, a pirate cove. Okay, so you know what? Yeah, is it okay? I mean, is it good that that we were born here? Yeah, I guess I'd rather be born here than in other areas of the world which have been decimated by the banking families, the same banking families that control America and America's interest. The domination of oil, the domination of all resources, from diamonds and just every mineral that's out there. And if you've got it and they haven't, and they're coming for it, they're going to take it. Africa, raped and pillaged. Totally raped, totally pillaged. And Trump's not going to change any of this, okay? Anybody who's telling you that Trump's going to change any of this is delusional. We are moving ever closer to a hot global world war. It was designed many years ago to say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stay on this path or close to this path until we are in a hot war with the other so-called nations of the world. Excuse me. And so really, truly nothing is changing. Nothing has been done. I saw Dana, was it Dana Loesch? I believe she's on, talk show host. She's a Fox News analyst, pro gun, NRA. Lovely, lovely woman, Dana Loesch. Strong-willed, all that. And so she says today that our veterans are still suffering. Nobody was really truly punished. The guy who was the head, the Asian American guy who was the head of the Veterans Administration, was let go. Probably got a job somewhere else doing something. Probably paid him off to just disappear. People got raises because the goal of the Veterans Administration is to administer death to our veterans. And when I talk about one of the main stories on today's program about Dick Cheney and Halliburton or Kellogg, blah, 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 and Root, what they did over there, which I think is kind of a cover up for other things like the vaccinations and things that they got while they're over there in the war spectrum, just like Gary Matsumoto wrote about the Gulf War sickness and injuries from the anthrax vaccine. If you go and you see Clint Richardson's documentary on YouTube, Lethal Injection, the true story of vaccination, or the reality of vaccination in Lethal Injection, you'll find that out. But it's very, very hard for people to understand that we should not trust these people. We should not allow them to tell us what is good for health because they are so-called scientists or doctors. And I know that sounds very, very bizarre to hear, but you know what? I mean, the Bible says, and there's a lot of very interesting information in that book about not trusting in flattering titles like presidents or magistrates or all of these things. All these people, this legal system that we have is just a replacement for God. They're playing God. If you hear that phrase, you're playing God with other people's lives. Well, they're playing God with you. How do you plead when you're in court? They used to say, pray to the court and see if they let you off easy. But now they changed it to plead because, you got to break away from the Bible, even though when Jeff Sessions was brought in as the Attorney General, boom, his hand's right on the Bible, right on the Bible. And of course, there is your church and state. There is no separation of the church and the state. They coexist together in a way that mentally enslaves you, spiritually, mentally, politically enslaves you to believe things that are not fucking true, to look at people with flattering titles and say, oh, that guy, that guy's a success. He's a judge, or he's a this, or he's a that. No. They are an abomination. They are an abomination. Because in the book, in the scripture, it says, do not be impressed by, do not look up to, do not, flattering titles. No flattering titles. Not a good thing. Bad. Flattering titles, bad. Well, see, I'm the constable. Flattering title, go fuck yourself. Who said that you could be the constable? Oh, well, Politics McGee over here said that I could be the constable. Supreme Court cadiddlehopper over there said, hey, you can be the constable, you can be the sheriff, you can be this, you can be that. It's not, and I'm not a holy roller, and I don't go to church. I've always known that it is bullshit deep inside. But of course, they, for many, many years, they sucked a lot of people from, the greatest generation. My father, World War II vets, Tom Brokaw, another family member, you would imagine, writing a book called The Greatest Generation. And the bottom line is that we've all been tremendously, there goes a Trump word, tremendously deceived about every aspect of this world. Tremendously deceived about everything. Indoctrinated in these prisons that collectivize and take away your unique whatever uniqueness that you were going to have. It was taken away. It was robbed from you. Okay? And that's the goal. And so in order to protect their creation, the United States Corporation and the states that are sub-corporations under the United States Corporation, and then, of course, the Crown Corporation over top of the United States Corporation, in order to keep you in line, laws get created, you go to school, and then, by the way, we're going to protect you from disease, and then none of that fucking ever takes place. The lie and the bullshit and the total deception of polio from Salk and that other fucking piece of shit. Those lying fucks that went along with the system. The lying fucks that went along with the lying fuck system. Combating diseases that they've created for profit, then, and these are the hardest things for some people, at least the people that I, get to see on a daily basis. The hardest thing is for them to, they just repeat, the easiest thing for them to do is just repeat polio or repeat, the globe, and outer space and all these other things. Because we've been fantasticaled from, Star Trek and Star Wars and just every other science fiction. It has to be real. It has to be real. Like Bill Hicks said. It has to be real. Look at everything that I have. Look at my flattering title. Look at my 3 homes and my 6 cars and my children and all that other stuff where, of course, their children go to private schools. They don't mingle with the filth that they've created. They don't mingle with the commoner filth that this system was designed to create. The haves, the have-nots, the haves, and the have more. Like George Bush said at the correspondence, one of his 8 correspondence dinners, where even people that hated George Bush would show up there just to bust his balls and laugh at other people doing it. Big roast for the people. All related in some way, shape, or form. Meryl Streep, you got it. Just another family member. Okay, don't let her fool you by her basic means when she stood up there and said, you know, that all these people that weren't born here were going to get thrown out of the country. Now, again, I'm not holding Trump up to, you know, I know exactly what he's here. He's here to piss off as many people as possible so that the cities are in flames. That's what he's here to do. But now all of the supposed news is fake, except for ABC, CBS, NBC, and the networks run by the same tribe that have been lying to the American people for years. World War I, World War II, all people got to do was go to the movies and then maybe listen to the radio, and it was all real. It was all real. You couldn't see it. You had no way of just breaking it apart. You just couldn't. You couldn't break it apart. It was there on the news, or you would go to a movie and then they would just like wow you with, a Gene Kelly or the dancers and the beautiful women like Marilyn Monroe, who related to George W. Bush and the Bush family. Okay, not some woman that came out of no fucking where and became Marilyn Monroe. Norma Jean was part of the bloodline family, and it's all there. It's all there. It's all broken down. It's all broken down. All these people in Hollywood, probably with the exception of a few, are all related to royalty. Presidents. Brad Pitt is related to George Washington. Obama is related to Brad Pitt. Okay? It's all one big fucking domination by blood. That's all it is. And they take it very seriously. They take it very, very seriously. So we've been lied to about everything: World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. And then they had the ability to create television shows to take the edge off of the fact that they're killing your family members, your commoner family members, for this communism. If we don't fight communism over there, it's coming here. Same thing with the war on terror. It's always got to be an enemy. Enemies are profitable, and making up enemies when you don't have an enemy is very profitable. It's the movie that they create for the dumb asses, the fucking morons that sit back and think this is all real, and it's not. The entertainment, Hollywood, that degenerative child fucking pedophile ring in Hollywood that we're hearing so much more about now from Corey Feldman, saying that these moguls and these very, very powerful scumbags that should be castrated and bled out through the fucking taint And they know who the fuck they are. You know who the fuck they are too. And so these little blurbs, these little this, these little that, the Jerry Sandusky, and then one of his relatives, I don't fucking know, somewhere along the line there, just recently. And then, of course, you watch the Joe Rogan with Mel and Head Jones on there, and they're talking about the pedophilia. And David Icke talks about it. This is going on. These are very, very powerful, sick fucking people that are above the law, right? They're above the law, and they will fuck anything that moves, and nobody gonna do nothing about it, because this is their creation. And this is what they've done. And this is what they're going to continue to do. And nothing is going to happen. And nothing is going to be done about it. But then it's fake news. It gets turned into something that's not real. And then people tune out to it. Just like people tune out of the atrocities of Iraq, the Iraq War and the things that surrounded that. You got John Stewart, not his real name, okay? Not his real name, John Stewart, had to change it because the other one would be too revealing, okay? His brother working on Wall Street, okay? And so he sits up there and he's just so angry at Bush and so angry at Cheney and all these things. And all they do is make comedy out of it. And then they blend a little bit of, because people will probably say, like I'm saying, yeah, you guys are just laughing and joking all the time about all these things. Are you really serious? Are you making a joke out about it? And then Jon Stewart's got to sit there and have, the moment of clarity, and then all this other shit where he talks about Bush and Bush's garbage and blah, 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 blah. But all the fucking crimes that Obama perpetrated and his administration, and all the scumbag bankers and everybody that he empowered, and then empowered him when it came to him, getting elected to the office. And then, of course, they make this feud with him and Israel, which is total fucking bullshit. Total fucking bullshit. None of this shit is fucking real. None of it. Obama never would have gotten into that office if he wasn't up Israel and the AIPAC's assholes. Okay, that's but they have to make it look. They have to make it look like because what does it do? It creates a divide. It creates an even further divide and a chasm between the liberals and the left and the conservatives and the right. It just continues to make people believe shit that is not fucking true in any way, shape, or form. Nothing. And of course, now even Trump says to Israel, "Oh, you can't," the settlement. So he kind of doubles down on the whole settlement thing that the UN had brought up, and that Bibi was crying fucking baby shoes about. What do you mean we can't kill people and steal their land? What do you mean? God said it was okay. Hey, so as long as God said that it's okay, yeah, then it's okay to kill people and steal their land, ethnically cleanse them, all that other shit. Pretty much what was done to them, right? Anyway, these fucking people are going to burn in hell if there is one. So we continue this left-right bullshit, this left-right like I said last week, this schism that continues between the left and the right, people believing that, this is wrong or that's wrong. And Obama was perfect. And even though there was just ongoing war while he was there, he might as well have been George W. Bush. But that doesn't mean anything because they're on the winning team, right? See how it's all tribal and I'm on the winning team, so fuck it. Even and then everybody just justifies shit, Go along to get along. Well, Obama tried to do this, but then the obstructionist in D.C., like they're saying about Trump now, the obstructionists that are not going to allow him to destroy the healthcare scam, not going to allow him to do that. And then if he can't get it done, then everything will just get blamed on. He tried to do it, but then blah, 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 blah. Well, Obama tried to do this and do that, but then he blah, 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 blah. And those damn Republicans, it's just always back and forth with politics, many bloodsuckers, many ticks, bloodsuckers. So, and then of course the dealings of the commerce. It's all about money. It's all about the corporations making money. So, of course, India approves $2.5 billion missile deal with Israel. On Friday, the deal with Israel to develop medium-range surface-to-air missiles for the Indian Army, the Hindu reported. So, Israel's already got enough shit to blow the world up fucking 8 times over. So that's bullshit as well. But no doubt there was a deal made. And, the rich get richer and the poor get Obamacare. The commoners, right? And, of course, John McCain cuts off reporters who asked about the $1 million donation from Saudi Arabia, who, of course, was tied to, in the 28 pages, tied to the attacks of 9/11. So McCain on Friday cut off questions from reporters asking about this donation from the Saudi Arabian government to a nonprofit that bears McCain's name. McCain denied that he had any link to the McCain Institute for International Leadership, which was founded in 2012 at Arizona, which, is where he's a senator, at the university there, with a $9 million gift of leftover cash from McCain's 2008 presidential campaign, which he was never supposed to win at all. He's a president in his own mind. He knew that he was not going to beat Obama, but he ran, and he's filthy rich because he's his asshole is all these maggots friggin' they love him. They love his ass because he takes it for all the profit and all the dozen homes. He's just the worst form of life that could be. But because he fought in a war, I'm supposed to respect him. And you're supposed to respect John McCain, even though everybody that fought with him said that he ratted everyone out for favors and special treatment. He's a coward, like Trump said. Again, not backing Trump, but sometimes you just got to say these things. And I think that's what Trump is there to do. He's there to not play politics. He's there to fucking say shit to piss people off, to really kind of slowly expose the system for the degenerative lying deception that it is, and then World War III, and then, whatever fucking nightmare scenarios that brings about. Former IMF chief sent to jail as Spain prosecutes 65 elite bankers in enormous corruption scandal. Okay, obviously, people that have been offered up by the system to be, prosecuted. People that thought that they were, in the inner ring, finding that they are not. And then, of course, the example that at least some countries are out there doing things that they need to do to these people for stealing and robbing people blind. We got here. Is that desperation hanging over Europe's banking system? Many of Europe's and America's biggest banks have begun begging, cap in hand, for a new, innovative way of raising vast sums of dirt cheap debt on Europe's financial markets. The what is that? What do they call that? The vultures picnic, from what's his face, the BBC journalist Greg Palast. Vultures picnic. America's fentanyl crisis is surging with no end in sight, having surpassed gun homicides for the first time in 2015. The epidemic of heroin and opioid-related deaths, not an accident, an agenda in the U.S. continues to grow amid the dismal failure of the war on drugs. It seems U.S. lawmakers are finally waking up to reality. Oh, yeah? Are they finally waking up to reality? Is that what they're finally waking up to? They woke up. They woke up to incredible sums of money in their fucking pockets from the pharmaceutical industrial complex, and they are pressing the nation's drug czar for more data on the dangerous synthetic opioid fentanyl. All right, including how it is trafficked, but probably by the CIA, and how many people it's killed, and how many that it's going to kill. In the latest effort to thwart a spiraling drug crisis. Who's going to get more money? The government's going to get money to fight more of a drug war that they've already failed at. They've already failed miserably. And so it's a fucking one bullshit after the next. Oh, what crisis? Oh my God, this is a crisis. Oh yeah, the drug wars. No, not so much, because the military-industrial complex gets all of its, or a good portion of its inhabitants from the drug war, and then of course now with the heroin, opioid, fentanyl crisis, with no end in sight, but a very profitable no end in sight. Vehicle plows into New Orleans Mardi Gras parade, injuring 28, driver in custody, blah, blah, blah. Trump tweets he will skip the White House Correspondents' Dinner after some media also cancel. Good. We won't have the haves and the have-mores getting together. And then they'll be like, really wish that Trump was here so we could call him bad names and junk. The new U.S. nuclear energy dream is dying. Now Greg spoke about this any number of times. He really truly believes that all of the information that we get about how dangerous the nuclear is put out there so that we will not have this type of energy that is, that where we can run the heater and run electricity and charge our phones day and night and put the air conditioner on day and night and only pay like $50 or less a month It was never meant to do that. And if they had that, and they do have the technology, if they had it, it would never be put out there because they're making way too much money from people who pay $100, $150, $200, $250, $300 a month for energy usage. The United States, once a projected leader in the nuclear energy race, in the 20th century, the world dreamed of finding a way to provide safe, cheap, and renewable energy, and nuclear power seemed to be the manifestation of those dreams. All of this, however, seems to be coming to an end. This past week, Toshiba decided to sell its American nuclear subsidiary at a $6 billion loss. Westinghouse Electric Company, an American company that Toshiba acquired 10 years ago, is in the business of building and constructing nuclear power facilities. This isn't the first time that Toshiba attempted to offload controlling interest in Westinghouse. All previous efforts, however, have failed. So it just kind of keeps going back and forth. Over in France, the de-radicalization center seen as a total fiasco. Knowing how bad the migration crisis that the Obama administration and the bankers and Israel and Turkey and all these other scumbags, all these other NATO countries created when they ousted and murdered Muammar Gaddafi, like they're trying to murder and kill and destroy Assad's Syria. They've created this crisis. They've created the problem, again, that nobody's really talking about. All they'll say, well, he was the bad guy, or Assad's that people, they will repeat fucking lies. They have no idea what's going on. They are worthless, and they should be filled with shame. They should be filled with shame for not fucking knowing what's going on around the world or caring. And George Clooney and all these other bags of shit, and they're, the ones that are like them over in the UK, the stars from over there, they always talk about, the migrants and how are we going to do this, how are we going to do that, what are we going to do for the migrants, we got to do this. Meanwhile, none of them have taken on any of these people with their huge mansions, huge resources, land that they have. No, there's no migrants or anything there. Can you hold on a second, folks? They don't make, it's for us to take them in, and then they will live beyond, they'll live beyond Thunderdome. And all right, so France's de-radicalization centers, total bullshit. They're not. It's just the window dressing to make it look like they're trying to stop the clash of civilizations, which is not going to happen, like we saw with Sweden and all the things over there. The Paul Joseph Watson report causing that. But again, even InfoWars for some reason doesn't really get to the crux of the situation and who's really behind all of this degenerate actions and global just chaos. No, it's the globalists. The globalists. Oh, blah, 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 blue. Thank you. Thanks. And of course, as you would imagine, because of the TPP breakdown that, with Trump saying, hey, we're not going to deal with this, right? It's going to have its effect because these other countries are going to want this. These other countries are going to want it. So China overtakes U.S. and France as Germany's biggest trading partner. China, for the first time, became Germany's most important trading partner in 2016, overtaking the United States, which fell back to third place behind France, the data showed. German imports from and exports to China rose to 170 billion euros, 180 billion last year. So because we're not participating in the TPP, or it's going to have a detrimental effect globally because globalism is been underway for a long time. And if America separates from it and others continue to do it, that's going to leave America oddball out. Who's going to want to trade? Who's going to want to trade with America? It's all leading to exactly what we've heard all these years. The destruction of this corporation, because it has to, according to them, has to be destroyed. According to them, it has to be eradicated. Drug gangs take back control of slums in financially crippled post-Olympic Rio. Dick Cheney, probably one of the biggest stories here to kind of let you know how Dick Cheney really cares about the troops and all these people that made it possible for him to, be a super wealthy piece of fucking garbage family member, as I said. So Dick Cheney poisoned hundreds of U.S. troops in Iraq. They're dying, and the media is silent about it. The legacy of death and misery from the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan continues today, and once again, Dick Cheney played and still plays a central role. A new book by Joseph Hickman, former U.S. Marine and Army Sergeant, titled The Burn Pits, The Poisoning of America's Soldiers, details how soldiers and local civilian populations were exposed to constant streams of toxic smoke from the burning of waste. The infamous Kellogg, Brown, and Root was part of Dick Cheney's corporate empire under Halliburton, operated about 250 burn pits, which contributed to the $40 billion that Halliburton made during the Iraq occupation. Every type of waste imaginable was burned, including tires, lithium batteries, asbestos installation, pesticide containers, styrofoam, metals, paints, plastic, medical waste, and even human corpses. All right. This reprehensible practice proves yet again that nothing is sacred when it comes to the military machine. Just as the U.S. laid waste to Vietnam's human health and jungle environment with Agent Orange, it wrecked human health and environmental quality in Iraq. The country will suffer from this toxicity for decades, as evidenced by sharp increase in birth defects, cancer, and leukemia rates. Likewise, U.S. veterans and their families are bearing the brunt of this travesty. The burning pits, the poisoning of America's soldiers, begins with the story of a healthy young soldier sent to Iraq who was constantly exposed to smoke from burn pits. When he returned home with respiratory problems, the Veterans Administration denied him care. He later developed brain cancer and died. So thanks for fighting. Thanks for fighting for the country that you love. Those who do survive are having children with birth defects at rates 3 times higher than normal, according to the book. The denial of medical coverage by the VA for burn pit-related illnesses is a central strategy in denying that burn pits even posed a health hazard. Beau Biden, the son of Vice President Joe Biden, died of brain cancer after serving in Iraq in the vicinity of the burn pits. Even this tragedy, which is similar to many stories of exposure and death, never brought attention to the issue of the burn pits. Hickman interviewed one former KBR employee who was very reluctant to even talk about the pits for fear of repercussions, as he was harassed by KBR when he previously came forward about the issue. By using private contractors for such operations, the Department of Defense facilitates these egregious assaults on human and environmental health because contractors are not held to the standards of the military. Let's hear Trump talk about that. Not a chance. Not a chance. Let's see here. For those of you who don't understand how the Middle Eastern countries have been totally dehumanized, the U.S. carried out regime change in Syria in 1949, 57, 86, 91, and from 2011 to this very day. From Washington's blog, it says the CIA backed a right-wing coup in Syria in 1949. Funny, that's right after the state of Israel was established. I wonder if there's a connection there. The CIA backed a right-wing coup in Syria in 49. Douglas Little, professor, Department of Clark University History, notes, recently declassified records confirm that beginning on November 30th, 1948, the CIA operative Stephen Meade met secretly with Colonel Zayim in at least 6 times to discuss the possibility of an army-supported dictatorship, Cold War covert action in the United States and Syria. That's a book, or at least an article there. As early as 49, the newly independent Arab Republic was an important staging ground for the CIA's earliest experiments in covert action. The CIA secretly encouraged a right-wing military coup in 1949. The reason the U.S. initiated the coup, or should I say Israel, in late 1945, the Arabian American Oil Company, Aramco, announced plans to construct the Trans-Arabian Pipeline from Saudi Arabia to the Mediterranean. With U.S. help, Aramco secured rights of way from Lebanon, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. The Syrian right of way was stalled in Parliament. In other words, Syria was the sole holdout for the lucrative oil pipeline. Indeed, CIA has carried out this type of covert action right from the start. In 1957, the American president and British prime minister agreed to launch regime change again in Syria. Historian Little notes that the coup plot was discovered and stopped on August 12, 57. The Syrian army surrounded the U.S. embassy in Damascus, claiming to have aborted a CIA plot to overthrow neutralist President Shukri Quatli and install a pro-Western regime. Syrian chief of counterintelligence Hamid Siraj expelled 3 U.S. diplomats. But again, what we see here is, more importantly, Syria had controlled of one of the main oil arteries in the Middle East. Another plan called for the funding of a Free Syrian Committee, which sounds exactly like the Free Syrian Army, which would arm the political factions with paramilitary and other actionist capabilities within Syria, which is what we're doing now, and we've been doing since 2011. The CIA and MI6 would instigate internal uprisings, meaning there's a civil war over there, and Assad's killing his own people. America is the beacon of morality, so we got to do something. For instance, by the Druze, or by a Shia Muslim sect in the south, help to free political prisoners held in, it's just the same story. It's the same thing over and over again. So this has been going on for a long time, as well as in Iraq. So this is what created the migrant crisis in Europe. This bullshit. And then Russia comes in to help Syria. So now it's a failed state. And what does the Pentagon say this week? We might have to put troops on the ground in Syria. So Trump's not stopping anything. Did Trump say anything about this bullshit event that's going on over there, where they're trying to oust Assad for no reason? Where John Kerry used to go over there and have dinner in Syria with Assad and his family? There is no bigger piece of shit out there. GE, Intel, AT&T team up to put cameras and mics in San Diego. There's your smart city. They've already kind of done that to Camden, New Jersey. Trump's policies are authoritarian, not populist. All right, and this is Krieger? Michael Krieger, Liberty Blitzkrieg. He says, I'm not new to writing about political issues. I spent pretty much the entirety of the Obama administration pointing out his disdain of transparency, his refusal to challenge the rich and powerful even after they inflicted significant harm economically on the American public, and his dangerous expansion of militarism across the globe, which is kind of what Trump is going to do as well. Of course, over those 8 years, I solidified and refined my views on a wide variety of issues that are important to me. I've been extremely troubled by the people Trump has decided to surround himself with. The fact he's essentially outsourced his economic policy to the boys at Vampire Squid, Goldman Sachs. I've held off the harshest criticism while waiting to see where he comes down on a wide variety of issues. And he says, at this point, I've seen enough. Trump and his spokespeople recently have made their opinions known on a variety of issues on which I hold strong beliefs. The 3 that he focuses on are civil asset forfeiture, 2, private prisons, and 3, the legalization of recreational marijuana. On all 3 of these issues, Trump has taken an authoritarian, unethical, and quite unpopular position. Rather than challenge the oligarchs who have run this country into the ground, he's appointed them to be his top advisors. Now he wants to make life increasingly unfree and miserable for average Americans. Not a very populist agenda. I'm not a cheerleader for political figures, and I find cult of personality worship to be an extraordinarily grotesque and destructive practice. We all have issues we care about. The things that matter to me may not be what matter to you, but it's important that we remain consistent in whatever principles we hold dear, irrespective of who happens to be in power at any given moment. One of the reasons Obama was able to do so much harm is because he was given a pass by the millions of phony liberals who suddenly didn't care about war crimes once Mr. Hope and Change became president. If you're a Trump supporter who wants to see him succeed, it's your job to hold him to account on these issues. And the problem here, one of the problems with Obama is that you got all these people that never voted before. They came out to vote. And then once they got him in there, they went back, shoved their fucking thumbs up their ass and started spinning around in a circle. They didn't give a fuck what he did. They didn't give a fuck what was happening. They just got a black guy or a man of color elected to office, and then they just went back to sucking their fucking thumbs after they removed it from their assholes. If you're if you're a Trump supporter who wants to see him succeed, it's your job to hold him to account on these issues. Otherwise, he will go down in flames. Not so much. I have a long history of writing on these issues. My opinions aren't new. I don't change based on who gets elected. Let's start with civil asset forfeiture, a topic I've written at least 10 to 20 articles on. I've outlined my my position quite clearly in my first post on the topic. Of course, now, in a nutshell, civil forfeiture is a practice of confiscating items from people, ranging from cash, cars, even homes, based on no criminal conviction or charges, merely suspicion. The practice first became widespread for use against pirates as a way to take possession of contraband goods, despite the fact that the ship's owner, in many cases, were located thousands of miles away and couldn't easily be prosecuted. Right. So, of course, then they turned it into and still to this day, they're, just taking people's property and everything that they own, because it really doesn't belong to them in the first place. But President Trump said on Tuesday there was no reason to curb law enforcement agencies that seize cash, vehicles, and other assets of people suspected of crimes, a practice that some lawmakers and activists have criticized for denying legal rights. Well, you give away all your rights when you become a citizen, so that's it. So he kind of goes through here, the civil asset. It's very profitable. Denying people marijuana. Among other things. But there's no difference here. You heard it. You heard it in Trump's rhetoric, building a military, strengthening the military. And then he'll say, well, I hope that we never have to use it. The reason why you build a military is in a system that is based on money and commerce and profit. You don't build a military and never use it. You build a military, and then this system will figure out a way to use it. And when it's unpopular to use U.S. troops, then what they'll do is they'll create a jihadi army, and then do whatever they want to do over there in any other country. So. Even Roger Stone said a crackdown on legal marijuana in the states will cost thousands of jobs and bankrupt local government. Huge mistake. Real Donald Trump, probably, because Roger Stone is a stoner. He's a stoner. So right there, stop stealing people's shit. Stop, telling them what they can and cannot do. if they want to smoke marijuana, they should be able to do it. You know, I mean, I sealed that, so I don't think it opened up this time. 4 clips from Maxine Waters that are so outrageously dumb they will leave you in shock. This woman is a mental fucking patient, like Nancy Pelosi. It's just absolute fucking mental patient. And of course, this won't even load. Let me trust the site. Come on. Well, my system's probably getting hacked right now. No, it's still blocking them. Come on now. Cripple. There it is. Anyway. Fucking internet. There it goes again. Anyway. Got about 6 minutes left here. I'm going to try to get this video or some of these videos here so we can play this fucking retard.
Actually president of the United States or not? And are there questions about what role the Russians played in this election? I personally believe they're separate questions, but do you?
No, absolutely not. And I think when John talked about him being illegitimate, he really was talking about the fact that the questions are still out there about whether or not the Russians did play a role in determining what happened in our elections. And also, I think John was talking about there are going to be more investigations to determine whether or not Trump or his advocates, people associated with him on his staff in the campaign, whether or not there was some collusion, whether or not there was exchange of information, whether or not they were strategizing together. Putin is continuing to advance into Korea.
Yeah, Korea.
Whether he's talking about the travel ban, the way that he's targeting Muslims, or whether he's talking about his relationship to Putin and the Kremlin, and knowing that they have hacked our DCCC and DNC, and knowing that he is responsible for supplying the bombs that killed innocent children and families in
like Obama did?
Yeah, in Aleppo. And the fact that he is wrapping his arms around Putin while Putin is continuing to advance into Korea.
Yeah, Korea again. Yeah.
We cannot continue to have a president who's acting in this manner.
Yeah, maybe we can't continue to have a congressman who's a fucking retard. You are a fucking retard. Serving California's 43rd district what? Serving them shit sandwiches? The fucking, her and Nancy
I
should
believe
get together.
That Tillerson's real job is to get in here and get those sanctions lifted. But all of them want them lifted because this clan, this Kremlin clan, is all about getting the oil and gas money and doing the drilling. And they need this president. They need this president to get these sanctions lifted. And don't forget, the second executive order.
I won't forget, you fucking retard. I won't forget that you're a fucking retard. Ugh, God, so sick and tired of these people that these Congress people that think that they even have a fucking clue. What's Howard Stern saying?
It's funny. I was listening to my pal Alex Jones. The guy sent me a clip. That guy who came in here, who I found tremendously entertaining. He was bashing me. He said,
He sent it to you.
No, JD found it.
Oh.
He was, he's got that voice, and he was saying, hey, Howard had me on his show, and it was great, and I met him, and he's a nice guy, but, he did a terrible thing to Trump by saying he was worried about him, and Alex Jones makes up stuff about me. He was like, Howard said that he's secretly a liberal, and
he did?
Yeah, I didn't say any of that. I said that I believe that Trump was pro-abortion, based on my conversations with him over the years, and I think this is a recent conversion. And I also said, in my opinion, because he said Howard Stern says in his opinion that Donald Trump is bad. It's bad for his mental health to be the president. Yes, of course it's my opinion. Everything you said is true. It's my opinion. I think it's very hard for Trump, a guy who's used to being yesed in business and conducting a successful business, to have to sit there and go to places and be booed and openly challenged and ridiculed on Saturday Night Live.
I don't think he cares.
I think it's very difficult.
I think he cares, but...
And yes, it's my opinion.
So, there's that. Ooh, okay, we're down to the last minute. All right, thanks for tuning in today, whoever's out there. Whoever's out there. Let's see what we got. See what's going on over there. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for Ron Stevens, Rock the Boat, and all the rest of the incredible programming on UCY this Sunday, February 26th. Alrighty. And we'll be back next week with more blathering and bantering and anger.
Rounds a minute, try to stop them. Don't put that on your wish list. That's retarded babble. Protesters make the hit list soon as they start to rabble. They are nothing but fishes in the barrel. It doesn't have to be Christmas for a carol. Some decorate with ornamental decorum. Some perform shock and awe on Hanukkah and Purim. That's where my job come in. I am a blessing to the mercenary. For the corporation selling weapons to them. Any potential competitor step into them. I'm authorized to knock them out and stick a GPS into them. They want to sell uranium to Iran that's enriched. That's a bitch. Now we got a GPS into them.